Welcome to Good Morning Hospitality, your one-stop shop for the latest news, noteworthy trends, and thought-provoking discussions across the industry. From hotels and short-term rentals to all things travel and hospitality, you'll find each episode equips you with the information that you need to start your week. Join us on Good Morning Hospitality every Monday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How we doing?
Happy Monday.
There we go.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Best day of the week.
Are we going to get a good Brandy rant today, Brandy?
Where's Will's coffee mug?
I know. Come on, Will. Are you matching
being used
today?
it's being used as a holder for something else. I have my Ember mug.
With
Sorry.
the coffee brand. Well and Good Morning Coffee.
Look, I love my Well and Good Morning Coffee in my Ember mug, but yeah, I should get like a nice GMH logo right across it. So should be
My coffee, I made like jet fuel this morning. I didn't really look at what I was pouring into my French press. So I don't know if we'll have a Brandy rant about anything, but you might notice this sincere uptick in energy in about 10 minutes.
Yeah. We see the hairs on her head start shaking a little bit. It's not the wind. It's not AC.
What do you mean?
It's Brandy's energy. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, happy Monday. Good morning. How was your guys' weekend? Anything exciting? Fun?
Well,
random?
I did a lot of unpacking. I came back from being up north and had left like right after we moved and came back. And I'm like, oh yeah, there's still unpacking to be done, and like trying to find things where you're like, I know I put it in a box, but which box? And so, yeah, it's been a lot of settling in.
I love that. Love that for you, Michael. How about yourself?
Same old. But I'll quickly brag on the little man got student of the week
yes.
week of school. So he did not get that from me. Kristen must be a wonderful influence. I can't ever remember even having that award at my school, much less receiving it. So
is
little man.
Is Elliot feeling better?
He's back at school too. Fever broke. We're in good shape.
Good. Well, glad the fam's doing good. I had a chill weekend here in Denver. I was playing the game of dog sitting, so that was fun. But outside of that, nothing really exciting.
Daddy will.
Yeah, one day. Awesome. Well, before we jump into the special episode, for all the listeners, we have an exciting guest. He's been on the show before. His name is Sam Dundas. He is the co-founder of Besty AI. We have the honor and pleasure of being advisors to Besty, and they had just been crushing it. So we had him on about 10 months ago when they first, started getting things going. And now here we are with another fun announcement. But before that, this is a news show. We do get some breaking news when we broadcast on a fine Monday morning. Brandy, do you want to be the one to potentially share this exciting and breaking news story that we just got before going live?
Yes, well, I'm sure anyone, especially on the East Coast that woke up this morning, saw the Sonder announcement that they have a licensing agreement with Marriott. And so I guess my prediction that they are going to be dead in the water in October is not coming true, which, is good. I'm like, there's a creative way out of the hole that they were in, and seeing like a 99% drop in your valuation is pretty brutal. So this is a lifeline, and then also a way for Marriott to just bulk add thousands of units to their inventory.
100%. Michael, can you share some details on the actual partnership that you saw in the article this morning?
Yeah, so Sonder's going to pull about 9,000 units onto the Marriott Bonvoy program. And it's just a chance for people to earn and burn points, as well as have more of a distribution play for Sonder. So it seems like a win-win all around. The Marriott apartment side we know is coming, but this is a way to fast forward it. There's an article in Skift comparing it to the MGM deal, just a licensing agreement where they get to use the distribution and the loyalty, 210 million loyal members of Marriott Bonvoy. I like it. Honestly, I don't know why it took so long, but I'm very curious at how this is going to perform over time. It makes total sense. Marriott's kind of framing it as their longer term kind of business travel play, which that's Saunders' target market.
Yeah, some of the other minor details too are it's a 20-year deal, I believe. Could be 10. I probably should have read that right.
20.
But 20-year deal, and Marriott Bonvoy is going to get a percentage of gross revenue or night revenue from Sonder, and Sonder now on the Marriott platform will be Sonder by Marriott Bonvoy. So an interesting licensing play, like Michael just said, for the MGM deal. It's pretty similar to that. But this really does allow Marriott to get into neighborhoods that have less competition from the hotel side. And like Michael said, also, I'm also very curious on the Apartments by Marriott brand and how that's all going to play out. But
we've seen these licensing deals start to come through with hotels or the flags more and more with Auto Camp and Under Canvas. I think both with Hilton. I could be Hilton and Hyatt maybe. So it's a race to grab inventory, and similar to the OTAs, the big three. You've got the big five in hotels, and they're trying to affiliate with as many sub brands as possible that can be under their distribution and loyalty play. So
smart play, smart move.
And I don't know if this is just because we're on the kind of the STR side of things, and Marriott is the most, I guess, ingrained of the big hotel chains and on our side of the fence. But it seems like they're, we kind of have this perception of hotels of being a little bit slow to the game or like slow to change, I guess. But Marriott seems to be, I mean, this is the biggest play into like our side of the fence that any big hotel group has made. So the continuing blurring of these two industries is moving along at a pretty rapid pace.
100%. Well, I love it. Well, like we said, more breaking news to come. We get lucky every now and then when we get ready to go live and have a fun little story like this to pop up. But we do have a guest waiting in the backstage, so we want to get to him. But before we do that, we have to give amazing shout out to our friends at Homes and Villas by Marriott Bonvoy. Who would have thunk? So if you're aiming to take your vacation rentals to the next level, Homes and Villas by Marriott Bonvoy is where you need to be. With a reputation for excellence and global reach, Marriott Bonvoy connects your properties with millions of travelers who expect the very best. Listing with Homes and Villas isn't just a platform. It's a partnership with a brand that stands for quality. You'll gain access to over 200 million loyal Marriott Bonvoy members looking for unique and luxurious stays just like yours. So whether you have 30 properties or close to it, this is your chance to increase your visibility and revenue with the backing of a trusted name. So if you're interested, go to homesandvillasbymarriott.com or just grab the link in the show notes or on our LinkedIn page to explore how you can bring your properties to a whole new audience. Don't wait. Seize this opportunity and grow your business today with Homes and Villas by Marriott Bonvoy. All right, let's bring our one and only AI expert, Sam Dundas, to the stage and make sure that we give him a big round of applause here real quick.
Fresh off of a $1.5 million fundraise, breaking news, breaking here first, right, Sam?
You guys got this. They got the scoop.
We've got the scoop. So we're excited to have you. We, like Will said, we had you on 10 months ago. We've been doing what we can to help along the way, but it's rare to find a founder that has a great product, is an absolute hustler, and is seemingly timing the market very, very well. So,
and a good, genuine human, by the way. Let's just be honest. Yeah.
Thanks for saying that.
We're excited to learn what you've been doing the past 10 months, what you see the next 12 to 24 months looking like, not just for Besty, but more broadly with the AI landscape. It's a hot investment space, so competition seemingly pops up, but it also seemingly fades fairly quickly. So you have a leg ahead of some of the competition now with this recent fundraise.
Yeah. So I guess, zooming out from when we first spoke, I think we were really in the early innings back in, I think it was October, or maybe even September, when I was back on this show. So in that time, we've integrated with six of the major PMSs, and a lot more to go. But distribution has been a key focus. Features wise, I think we've been really focused on just like enterprise. So we have 45 users now that have over 100 listings. We have 7 users that have over 1,000 listings. And I think the big focus has just been, if we can make it work for them, we can make it work for anybody. I think like being able to separate the forest from the trees with like good, like reliable and consistent AI responses is like much easier said than done. I think it's pretty easy to spin up like a chatbot, and I think like Brandy, we were talking about this before, but like the chat is really just like the scratching the surface of what these things should really be capable of doing over the long term. And so I think, a big focus now that we can take a quick minute to like breathe and like reset and think, like take a longer term view. We're going to be really focused on that. Like where can this stuff really shine, both for its reasoning engine and for its ability to write code and really start to like simplify the complexities of property management, alongside these larger customers, and let that trickle into the into the broader ecosystem.
So with those larger customers, what are some of like the asks or features that you find customers ask for?
Yeah, so I think the first sort of wave of being able to rely on a vendor, and there's plenty of them, and that's a whole other thing, but a vendor to do the sort of front lines communication, is like becoming that sort of expectation table stakes, and even being able to get that within your native to your PMS without using a third party vendor. And that's, since we first spoke, that's become ubiquitous across all the major PMSs, across a lot more vendors. Like when we were starting, I thought there was a lot, but there's probably 5 times more. And you look at every single PMS partnership announcement, there's like 3 or 4 AI startups. So like that's fair. So I think the next thing, the biggest thing pulling us with our customers is, okay, now that you have like an AI handling the conversations, how is it so I'm not spending more time reviewing them than it would be for me to just pay somebody to do the communication. So that's basically real-time task detection and management, and then pushing those tasks into whatever task management system you use, whether that's native to your PMS or one of the other third-party solutions. So being able to proactively recommend basically what, a feature we just launched last week, which is detecting tasks and then being able to one tap, summarize the task, describe it, and then you just assign it to the right person and send it out. So like task management, I think, is the next sort of one step deeper. That's been like a big area of focus for us in our product.
Yeah, I love the task management component. And then if I was to have like another level of wish list for the task management, is particularly in housekeeping, being able to do really complex housekeeping scheduling. This is something, I have a friend that works at Amazon, and they're trying to figure this out for like the warehousing. So it's a big problem, but taking in all these different variables that come in with scheduling and, doing capacity based, like this housekeeper can do X amount of rooms in a day, and figuring out how to assign them, because you have these schedules that are always changing, always evolving on both sides, from like the staffing availability and from, reservations that change around and things like that. So I know we're probably a little ways away from that, but just throwing in my wish list down the road.
Yeah, I think even just like this is part of a larger thing that's going to take us now, especially with the capital. It's going to take us at least like 4 to 6 months to really. But the precursor to a larger feature there is just simply updating the check-in and checkout time semantically based off somebody saying we're out or my flight arrives at 7 p.m. and being able to push that into the PMS as a reliable data field. And then there's all sorts of, like you said, managing the whole cleaner Tetris, but then also how do you make the most out of every check-in and checkout turn for dynamic, upselling, which anyway, that's a whole other thing that we're excited about, but that's one of the main things on our roadmap actually. So that's cool.
So when we look at where hotels started and where they largely still are today, it's human capital heavy. You still see cleaners oftentimes with clipboards walking up and down halls in your, regular branded hotels. And then you look at short-term rentals, who are very human capital efficient because of technology. And then we look to the future and it's even further where short-term rentals become even more human capital efficient because of AI. How do you bridge the gap between hotels and short-term rentals with AI attached? Like where's the easy 0 to 1 without, I mean, I think table stakes is the guest communications, but what are some of the things that you see in hotels that are, exciting you on product development?
Yeah, so I think there's sort of like because it's such a bigger, I think it's like $1.1 trillion a year on hotels, and like short-term rentals in 2023 is about 270 billion or 170 billion. It's 170 billion, yeah. At least from what I saw. Is that like the place that we're going to play first is where these hotels are posting to these OTAs for distribution, where they open up these new conversational platforms. Like if you're like a Hilton or an Accor, like your agents and your whole flow and customer journey is very one-sided. It's like email notifications for confirmation. It's, front desk show up in person. There isn't this inbox and this concept of a host and you talking to your like host is in the same way you would a single family or a multifamily vacation rental. So where we're playing first, in a huge part of the focus of this fundraise is to break into hotels, as you would imagine, is looking at the brands that are using the hotel PMSs that offer distribution to the OTAs. But as a result, if you add 7,000 units into that Airbnb or Vrbo, like how are you going to manage the day-to-day communications? Because you've now basically opened up this entire Pandora's box of guest communications, which your team isn't necessarily equipped to do the same way they were handling, say, phone-based reservations or guest support when they show up. So we have a couple pretty cool partnerships in the works right now where Besty is going to be the sort of unified inbox for all of those hotel groups that are going into the OTAs. And we actually kind of worked out a way that we can have a direct integration with the OTAs as a result of that as well. So that is a very small subset of this whole sort of vibe shift that I think you guys have talked about a lot, of hotels cross-pollinating into short-term rentals and the lines getting blurred. And so that's not as, say, sexy as moving directly into the commerce, the Opera and Oracle's like full tech stack of the hotels, but we can take off a small bite of that and help them when it comes to our neck of the woods, which is like the sort of STR, these like OTAs like Airbnb. So that's the way we're thinking about it now.
I think it's really interesting. Sorry, you mentioned the like Pandora's box of guest communication, and how I think just a quick different, like in the STR landscape, we've created this monster where we need to have a very fast response rate. I feel like if you're hotels, maybe you send like you call in and you got a person, or maybe you send an email or you wait till you get to the front. It's a much slower process, I think. And now,
Totally.
there's a response rate where like response is less than like 5 minutes. So we've created this expectation. And I think that that's blending across all forms of hospitality in general, that we're expecting this almost immediate response. And there's just no way. I think that's where, AI in general can help, because even if you're not getting the answer that you need, you're getting that response. And so I think it'll be, I think everyone will start having their own chatbots, because we've created this, basically a requirement for them now.
Well, yeah, imagine like just the last thing is like, okay, if New York cuts the inventory of Airbnbs by 95%, but the mind share of the consumer still wants to go to Airbnb to book, the only thing that's going to change is the owners of the properties and the people who have the right licenses. But so the hotel groups are going to go to where the guests are, where the consumers are getting, Airbnb is sponsoring the Olympics or spending billions of dollars in marketing. Well, to Airbnb, but then you've just like opened up this whole new SLA of like, people are expecting to hear from you in 5 minutes. You just added 7,000 units of inventory. Like it's just going to be a whole mess. So like that's where we're joining to learn, because we don't know anything about hotels right now. So that's somewhere where we can help them, where we can be subject matter experts and then build with them into like a much bigger space.
Yeah, we just had the hospitality retreat in Auburn a little over a month ago. And there's so many touch points that are really hard to replicate in short-term rentals than there are in hotels. How do you still keep the air of hospitality in AI versus, I mean, even simply it being a human on the other side of the communications?
Yeah, I think just back office support, kind of regardless of like, let's say for a lot of people, and we might even see this with like, right now, I think working with the short-term rental folks, it's like a very entrepreneurial folks that are, independent decision makers and almost work more like consumers than like, let's say, selling into like a Marriott or an Accor or something like that, where there's going to be all sorts of considerations of even disclosures around if they want AI to even that could even be a non-starter for them to have it as like a core function of their guest communications or hospitality. I will say there's a lot of vendors making great progress on selling into those groups for like hotel call centers, like first line, defense for AI voice, which is interesting. But I think like for us, if you just take sort of communications out of it, there's still so much that you can do like in the back office to automate a lot of the administrative payment processing, like upselling, things like that that are no, people don't necessarily need to even touch the sort of frontline guest communications to be using AI. And I think that that's what we're talking about: dynamically updating check-in times, and being able to dynamically sell late checkouts and early check-ins based off of certain fields that only an AI could detect, and that a regular code wouldn't be able to pick up on. I think there's a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah, I think playing into their past experiences if they're repeat guests is a huge one as well. So I think there's that's probably the easiest and best one for AI, because humans aren't naturally going back and digging through old reservation notes and seeing if that person's stayed before and whatnot. So awesome. So the 1.5 million, that to my knowledge, I could be wrong, there's no one else that's really raised in the hospitality AI segment. Maybe one did a small round coming out of an incubator, but what does that mean for you guys?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I mean, I've obviously been trying to keep an ear to the ground, and like I think that once again, like it was a really it wasn't easy, like spoke to a lot of funds and like people like the outcomes, and like it like to sound all pretty on the outside, but yeah, I mean, hundreds of conversations with funds, like a lot of the same sort of objections around market sizing, around moat and competitive landscape and differentiation. And I think like we found two really great partners that saw sort of our ability to execute with extremely living in a world of scarcity and extreme resource constraints, and then being able to now sort of replicate the playbook of what we've done over the last 10 months of thinking of like every day is sort of our last, because it was getting pretty tight there for a while, like getting pretty close. But I think that for us, this is a good sort of signal that this space remains growing, and that there remains like to be venture interest, both for, let's say, specifically us as like an AI point solution, but also in the broader ecosystem, that that venture is like obviously a huge thing to fuel innovation. And I think anytime that you see a round come together on any of these, apps or PMSs or anything, I think it gives us all sort of a sense that this thing is growing and that we're moving in the right direction. So we're pretty excited. I mean, I think we've been able to make a splash with very constrained resources, and I think we just gotta, throw jet fuel on the fire here. And so we're just so stoked to be doing it. And I've had so much fun so far working in this industry, and we're just so thrilled to show the world what we can really do now that we are properly capitalized.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. And also kind of I think the around in this environment and the round size, I think we got so used to a couple years of like crazy massive fundraisers happening like every other day. And it is good to see that even in a difficult environment, a good product can still raise money, and that you don't need, like $50 million check size to go and do something with a big impact. So it's really exciting to see that you guys now have a little bit of cushion to work with where you can experiment and really push your product forward.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, and honestly, that's the thing. Like, yeah, what, two tech IPOs in like 2 years? It's been like, people. There's been a lot of FUD, but I think it's at the same time. I mean, like you look at these PMS partnership announcements. I thought there was a lot of like AI sort of point solution vendors. When we were starting, and there's probably like 15 or 20. So it's sort of game on. best product wins, and like we're in the race here. You know what I mean? But I think that's also going to be great for the consumer at the end of the day. More solutions, more things to choose between. Like people always ask us, like even customers, like what makes us different. And I'm like, I'll tell you the exact same thing that these 10 other people will tell you. It's the same pitch. So try them and let it speak for itself. Like maybe we're not quite there on X feature, but they're better at this one or whatever. I think now that I think that's the only I mean, with any one of these, yeah, especially if the PMS is offering it, the bar is just going to keep getting set higher, which is just going to produce better products and better pricing, and the consumer is going to win. In this case, the consumer being, the operator, the business.
Yeah, I mean, we saw this play out with PMSs a decade ago when Brandy and I got into the space. There were
aging me.
Hey, you're only slightly younger than me, Brandy. But I mean, every Verma that you'd go to, there'd be 5 new PMSs and then 2 others that didn't make it to the next year.
Yeah, it's a space race. You know what I mean? It's like a fun, energizing, keep you honest. Like you never underestimate your competitors, and totally. But we're in the arena.
Yep. Yeah, it's a land grab, and I think this is going to be table stakes for the industry because it does limit, the head count that you need, and a lot of this stuff is the stuff that property managers beat their heads over and over again. The stupid questions that you get at 10 p.m. on a Friday night. Where's my coffee? Well, you should have gotten well and good morning coffee, right?
Exactly.
Shameless plug.
Can we train Besty AI to have that?
Can we hard code that in? Yeah.
Across thousands of property conversations, anytime coffee is mentioned, just like put out an Amazon link or something.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll share the link with you to hard code it in. But I mean, it really will become table stakes. And then I think the big behemoths of hotels are laggards for sure, but you see them more and more and more, as evidenced by today's announcement with Sonder and Marriott, that there is that bleeding over between hotels and short-term rentals. We want to learn how their financial metrics work because short-term rentals have been the Wild West for the past decade, and they want to learn how we can operate so many units with so few people. And so it's an interesting like blending over the next decade that'll happen, and you guys are going to be centered right there in the middle of it. So we're excited to see what kind of features you come up with that aren't obvious to us, but we're also excited to see how you guys play a leading role in melding the traditional and the more modern hospitality worlds.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, we're stoked, and we appreciate always you guys, your support and having us on. It's always fun.
And anytime you get that capacity-based housekeeping AI, I will happily beta test any of that stuff.
Awesome.
So, Sam, how do people get in touch with you? What conferences are you going to soon?
Yeah, so we're going to be, 100%. So you can check us out at getbesty.ai. You could book a demo with us directly on there. We do a bi-weekly demo if you want to sign up for that, like a webinar. If you just want to tune in for that. We're going to be sort of all over, we have a booth at Verma. We're going to actually, thanks to you, Michael, for that conference in the Vacation World Summit in Porto. So we got, I think, like the last booth there or something, like just in time from when you sent me that link. And then we're just going to be sort of full court press on the conferences and getting our name out there and adding a bunch of new people to the team. We actually onboarded four new employees this week, and headcounts now, I think we're 11 people. So it's pretty exciting. Yeah.
Right.
And so we'll be a full squad at Verma, and we'll be probably hosting a little event celebrating our customers and the whole situation there. So you guys are obviously going to be invited to that, and hopefully we get to hang out then.
Oh yeah, we're definitely hanging out. Excuse me.
Yeah, I'll bring more shirts. I'll bring you a few more shirts this time. Well,
I'm gonna need them. But with that being said, thank you, Sam, for being on. We appreciate all that you're doing. It's been so fun to work with you. Thanks for again sharing with the audience kind of your insights and the announcement of the fundraise. But just like powering your short-term rentals with AI, did you know you could power your short-term rentals with Sojo? Getting automated tech-enabled amenities directly to your warehouse, home, or anywhere else you want it to go is going to be the solution with Sojo. You can get your brand as the hero. So go to getsojo.com/GMH and make sure you let them know that obviously we sent you. So get Sojo today, 30 days for free for any of the listeners that again mention Good Morning Hospitality. And Sam, thank you again. We'll see you soon on the other side of the conference circuit. Hopefully we all survive. I know it's coming up quick. And
I'm in like denial that this is like, conference season always comes and you're like, oh my God, there's so many of them.
it's September. I'm dead. Like personal note, I've been going on a couple dates with this one person, and she was like, when am I going to see you in September? I'm like, you're not going to see me in September. So just FYI.
We'll circle back in October.
Yeah, we'll pick this back up. Yeah, we'll pick this back up in October, see how that goes. But anyways, sorry, had to drop that note. But Sam, thank you again for being on the show. For all the listeners, like and subscribe to all things Besty AI. Go to getbesty.ai today. Make sure you let them know, obviously, that GMH sent you. And of course, like always, have a great rest of the week. Happy Monday, and we'll see you guys all next week.